Hi, Steve, with another video, and I've got an experience here, an indie experience, and I've got quite a lot of notes I have to kind of refer to because it's pretty detailed. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to kind of explain it. But the beginning of this, she's a COVID patient, and she's pretty bad. And she had COVID, and she's really getting recovering. So I'll talk about that at the end, how she's doing. But she coded 3 times, and I think I talked to you about that. That's when somebody's heart stops. And she coded 3 times, and the third time we brought her back, and she was out for about a minute. From what I understand from the nurses, that she was brought back in about a minute, but she had the ND experience during that minute. And the way that she explained it is that it seemed like a lot longer. I mean, it seemed like just a long, long time that she was in the other realm, in the spiritual realm with God. But let me go ahead and continue on this, and as I said, I'm going to try to do the best. Kind of refer some of the notes here because they're pretty detailed. In other words, which everybody knows that when you had any experience, you have a review. And one of the things in the review is pretty interesting, that how you affect others. In other words, you have a review of your life and what you've done in your life, but also how you affect others and how they were affected, that you can see, but you become them. You actually experience the effect that you had on them. And what's amazing about all this, what she's explaining to me, and most everybody kind of knows this already, it's all one instant. It is not chronological time that the way that we know it. It's all at one instant, everything in just one moment. But you get everything. I mean, it's pretty stunning how that works. But she talked about more about the review, and the review she had, God looks for the small things. He doesn't look for the large things that you do in your lifetime. He looks for the small things that you don't even think about, but you do react. And one example he brought about her life, she was driving down a road, and she saw an accident. She was kind of some distance away, but she's kind of watching all this unfold. And it's a woman that had a young woman, from what I found out, is that it was a young woman that had a car, in front of her, and she pulled to the side, or the car drifted to the side, and the woman got out of the car, and she fell to the ground. So she just instinctively stopped the car, pulled to the side of the road, and went to her. She knows nothing about CPR, but she did it. I mean, she was, she just remembers seeing images, and she started doing it, and it saved her life, basically. The ambulance came, and the way, that review is that, the ambulance came, the fire trucks, everything was there, and they took over as far as the medics. And the thing that he pointed out to her, that when she walked away, nobody acknowledged her for what she did. And what was important about that is that it wasn't about acknowledgement. It was about her, who she was, what she was about. And that's what he's pointing out to her. And then he went into some other discussion about, because she was feeling this love and compassion, and she kept saying how blown out she was by his love, his compassion, by his understanding and who he really is. And she was just blown out by the whole incident. She used the phrase blown out. But anyway, there was a question that was asked, and she was feeling this compassion and love by God. And she said, and here's a phrase too that I thought was interesting: in your limited earthly being. Did you learn how to love? Did you learn about kindness? Did you learn about compassion to others in your limited earthly being? And I thought it was an interesting phrase. But she kind of acknowledged that she's learned some things about it, and she experienced about love. And God, for God, that's the most important thing, is about feeling love for others. And you love others, and you love yourself, and that's basically what it's all about. But he was just pointing out little things about her, and then she, who she really is. She talked about her physical being too, and she was not in her earthly form. She was in her spiritual form, and it was just different. It was, your whole sense of perception is very different. And but anyway, the one thing that we led into, or what she talked about further, was about seeing the future. And she couldn't, and you've heard this before. People, when they see the future, they can't talk about it. They can't talk about it. In her case, she saw the future. She didn't want to talk about it. But she said the future was really pretty bad. It was, and the way she put it, was full of hate. It was full of distrust. It was full of division, but she couldn't go any further about that. She mentioned just a slight, like violence, whatever. And she said the other choice was for us to choose, the path of dignity, of love and compassion for others, and he used the word dignity quite a bit. But anyway, that's what she was kind of experiencing, and to be honest with you, from what she was deeply affected by it. Now you have to understand, I'm not in what I'm wearing right now. I have to wear protective gear because she has got COVID, and so I'm in there for about maybe 15-20 minutes with this gear on. But she's telling me the story. But anyway, that's her story. That's her ND experience, and the whole moral of the story is that it's about love. And you've heard this many times with other people in the experience. It's about love and what the world can be, what it could be, if we decide to choose it. Talked about free will too. It is up to us, how we choose. And in this period of time, it just seems kind of relevant she was talking about. But anyway, it really is our choice. I'm going to go ahead and kind of end it here, but I can tell you one thing: she was deeply affected by it. And she would just kept using the word. She was just blown out by it. Yeah, it was just a very, very just a inspiring moment in her life, and she will never be the same as a result of it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm losing my voice a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I just want to share this experience with you, and as always, I hope your day is going well. And again, I appreciate your time for watching it, and until the next video. Thanks again, I appreciate your time. Thanks again.